everybody, I'm Anne from the Keller Library, and today is May the 4th, which is also Star Wars Day. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make a doormat that features the Mandalorian mantra, "This is the way." So our library kits that you received for this project include the doormat, 2 stencils, which you can choose which one you like better. One is a little harder and one is a little easier. We've also given you a paintbrush and some paint. A couple things you'll need to supply for yourself are a pair of scissors or an X-Acto knife, some tape, and maybe a ruler or a measuring tape. But that's pretty much it. So let's get started and see how this works. First thing we want to do is prepare our stencil. So we need to cut away all of the black parts of the stencil. So you could use an X-Acto knife or just a handy pair of scissors for this. I'm going to use an X-Acto knife. If you do the same, make sure you've got something to put underneath your stencil to protect your work surface. You're just going to carefully trim away all of the black. Okay, once you've got all of the black trimmed off of your stencil, you're ready to go. Just one thing I wanted to point out to you is the only tricky part of the stencil is really going to be the center part of the A. And I've just left some of the black part attached here so that I don't have to guess where this center part of the A is going to be. Okay, once you have your stencil all cut out, we're ready to start working with the mat. So take your mat. I've got it here on a piece of paper just to protect, again, my work surface. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the stencil, we're going to center it on the mat. Now you could just eyeball it. You could also take a ruler and measure to make sure it's in the center. But the idea is you want it to be in the very middle. And then we're going to tape it down just to secure it in place. So I'm using masking tape. You can use just about anything, would be fine. Once your stencil is secure onto your mat, we're going to start painting. Now, this is not a true stencil in so much as we can just wipe a whole bunch of paint across here like this and then peel off the stencil and it's going to be perfect. This is really more just a guideline to help us know where our paint needs to go. So you still kind of have to have a steady hand. But what I am going to do is I'm just going to get a very small amount of paint on my brush and kind of do like almost dry brushing just to fill in the stencil. And you'll continue this for the entire mat stencil, obviously. But what you can see is we have a perfect W now. So we'll do this dry brushing technique for the whole stencil, and then we'll remove the stencil and go over everything a second or third coat with the white paint to make it more white. But for now, we're just getting the design on here, and the best way to do that is this dry brushing technique. So just continue on. Now that we have the whole stencil dry brushed, we're going to remove the stencil. So just carefully peel it away and discard because we're done with it. As you can see, we're left with an almost perfect outline of our design, and all we need to do now is just go over it with some more paint. There is one spot I guess you need to mention that you want to fill in those sections that you left to keep your stencil whole. Make sure you go in and fill those. I just want to mention too that this is a very forgiving medium for painting. As you can see, the doormat has white fibers in it. So even if you get paint somewhere you don't want it, it's really not a big deal. Also, if you want to outline your things a little more perfectly, we can just take a Sharpie to this and color around the edges with a black Sharpie. So like if I don't think that these black lines are defined enough, after I'm done painting and everything is dried, I'll just come back with a Sharpie and go over that to define it some more. But basically, we're just going to go over it with more paint. And it will take quite a lot of paint. You'll notice the doormat soaks in a lot of paint. So it'll take a lot of paint to get it to be a bright white. But maybe you don't want it to be a bright white. I mean, the good guys in Star Wars are kind of known for being kind of ragtag and scrappy, right? So you don't want it to be too clean cut or you'll look like a stormtrooper. But yeah, just keep going all the way on your whole design until you get to the color that you want it to be. Okay, here you can see the final product, the easy version and the difficult version. So I just went over my dry brushing. I went over it a second time with a generous coat. So this is really just like 1.5 coats of paint. So you could keep going. There's plenty of paint in your kit. You could keep going if you want crisper lines, but just in case you're a perfectionist like me, I'm just here to remind you that this is a doormat that you're literally meant to step on and scratch your feet on. So don't get too obsessed with being perfect on it. But I hope you have fun with this project. It's a lot of fun and Star Warsy. So may the Force be with you.